Hello makers, this is one of the projects that I made for the Tim Holtz Idea-ology Christmas 2023 release. And this one was obviously inspired by the Grinch and Max. So I thought it would be fun to take the Reliquary dome and just make a really kind of cartoonish, Whoville, Grinch inspired little make. But I didn't feel like kind of going all in on the Whoville theme. So this is what I made. So let's go ahead and get started. And I will show you, for the most part, how I made this. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the details. Well, these are the things I think I'm going to use on this make. Really not sure, not even sure I'm actually going to complete this tutorial. But let's just give it a shot, okay? My plan is to use a Reliquary dome and to put these tall, skinny trees in it. And some of this other stuff. I'm going to light them up with the multi-lights. Maybe I'm going to do colored baubles and put them on them. Or I might use the candy, or I might use the candy for something else. Because I want this to be kind of Whoville, Grinch themed. The problem I have run into are a couple of things. Number one, I don't have a Grinch. And so I'm going to try and turn one of the Santas into a Grinch. So I don't know if this will work out, but I am going to give it a try. All right. And you probably are hearing in the background some noise. And yes, my friends, that would be our beloved Existencio making his appearance. Hi, buddy. I'm going to try and turn this standing deer into his dog. I forgot the dog's name. This stuff here, pretty much what I'm going to use to try and make a little Whoville scene. You know, Whoville inspired, obviously. It may end up being silly. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it'll be fun. So let's go ahead and get started making Whoville. As always with Idea-ology, I am going to be videotaping as I work as much as I can. And I already apologize for the things that I'm going to miss. Because as you know, under a deadline. And so I do my best to try and get all of the steps in. But, you know, there's only so much I can do. Okay, I'm starting off by painting the bottom of my Reliquary dome with white paint. And so this will take me a little while because it's cork and it just soaks in. And that's also the nature of picket fence, is it's opaque, but it always takes several coats to cover anything that's darker underneath. And since most things are darker, it usually takes a couple of coats. So I'm going to be painting the top and the outside edge. And when I come back, it should be done. All right, so I talked about earlier that I don't have a Grinch, but I have a Santa. So I'm going to try and paint this and make it something that's Grinch-like. And couldn't decide if mowed lawn or I felt like peeled paint was more Grinchy, but it might be kind of a mix between the two. So I pulled them both, and I'm going to put them on my mat here so that I can pull from both of them. Then I pulled candy apple for the Santa. I'm only going to do the jacket, the hat, and the shoes. I think that's what he has that are all red. And then his legs will be green, and his face and his hands are all going to be green. I also have some white and black for his eyes and for his belt, I think. And then we'll call it good. So I hope this isn't too awful. All right, but I'm just going to go for it. I think I'll videotape and maybe do fast forward how it turns out. So just to let you know, I'm going to be turning on one of my overhead lights. It will be shining here. So sorry about that, but I need the light. painted. And I haven't added the eyes yet. It looks like a green Santa, but you know, it's all right. Whatever. But I kind of roughly took the white and just pounced it along down here where the Grinch has the fur on his outfit. And now I'm going to take some opaque grit paste. This is older because it doesn't have the sticker on the top, but look, still look how yummy that is. Brand new. I just took the plastic off. So I will probably kind of take like this, and I want to get some on there because I want it to look rough and like it's furry. Does that make sense? So I have put one layer of white paint on here, and so that should keep anything from bleeding. Plus the paint usually doesn't bleed, it's the ink that we have to worry about. So we should be good all the way around. So I'm just going to go around and do this all the way around, kind of trying to make it look textured. And then I'll be back. I finished the Grinch, so that's as good as it's gonna get. He's not perfect, but I think it gets the idea across, so I'm happy with it. I had to fiddle with a fine tip brush and try and get, you know, the eyes and everything painted. And then you saw me put the texture paste on. I like the way the texture paste adds just a little detail. That's kind of fun. So he is just curing. And now I'm going to work on the dog. So this is supposed to be the dog. So I'm going to paint some. I've already wet it and kind of tried to make it so that it is soft. And I'm going to paint it with some vintage photo. I have some browns, the white and the black over here. And I'm going to paint this, the dark brown, for the color of his ears. And then I will probably kind of try and attach them here so that they're hanging down. And then I'll paint, the nose will be black. I'm going to paint, he has big eyes. So I'll do white with a little bit of black in the middle. And then I'm going to paint one of these light brown and kind of tie it on. The thing that's throwing me is this little extra bit here, because Max doesn't have the extra bit. He has this part, and then he has a little part that comes out front here. So I may go ahead and trim that off of one of these, paint them both, and then see which one I want to go with, since I have a choice. So I think that's what I'll probably do here. So you probably saw me cut the ears out, and I just freehanded them. They're not exact. It's okay. Nobody's going to be comparing it. It's going to be behind glass. So just make some little ear-shaped pieces. And then what I think I'm going to do is over these ears, I think I'm going to attach it like this. So I think that looks like a dog. I'll go ahead and just use some Distress Collage Medium. it on the side. Okay. And I'm going to do the one like this and over. So I'll just do this and hold it, and then I'll do the other one across the top like I showed you, and I won't make you watch me hold it. While the Grinch and the little dog are drying, I'm going to go ahead and color these trees. And the Grinch was colored with peeled paint and mowed lawn, and so I don't want the trees to be the same color. So I did go ahead and pull some mowed lawn, but I think my main color is going to be Twisted Citron, which is a little brighter. A quick update. So I've drilled a hole. I smoothed this out a little bit after I cut all the cork out. So I smoothed it out just a little bit by putting some texture paste in there. Then I sprayed it with a little water and smoothed it out with my finger, painted it white. And now I have poked a hole in that I hope is going to be wide enough that I can get this set of lights through. Yep, there we go. Now, I'm not going to thread the lights through yet because I need to put some snowfall texture paste on here. And I have that right here, snowfall grip paste. So I'm going to be smearing that on here. This is going to be the front. And as you can see, this fits right in here. And then the extra wire will go around. And I'll just stick that in there. And then you can see that this is going to go, the lights will go right down through that hole and they'll come up in the back. And then they will light up the trees that are going to go like this. And then we'll have Max and the Grinch up here. And I'm not sure what all else. So let me talk a little bit about Max and the Grinch. I haven't made any changes to the Grinch. This is what he looked like the last time I showed you, but to Max I did just a couple of things very quickly. I tied the antlers on. They were already glued on, but I just tied a little red thread that I had around so it looked like it's holding them in place. And then I gave him a little red collar, and all I did was just take a little piece of some craft paper. It could be any color paper you want, and then I painted it with the same red, which is candy apple distress. And then I just used a pen and colored 3 little dots on there and put his little collar on him. And I think for being a deer, I think he looks, you know, once I get him on here and the trees are kind of covering the back of him, I think that's really going to make him look like a dog. I think we did pretty good with the Santa and the, you know, they're kind of funny and they're weird, but I like them because they're nutty. So I'm going to just go with it. The snowball grip paste is dry, and so I'll show you that there's not a huge difference, but I'm going to be adding some more. So this is kind of it roughed in. Nothing is really glued down. But I have these pieces kind of the way that they'll be. So I'm going to have Max kind of stuck. I'm going to adhere him back with his little rear end under the trees so that he appears smaller. And the Grinch will be here. The trees light up now. And so now I just need to put the baubles on them. And then I went through the baseboards and I found some stars that I could put on the trees. To put these in, I just poked holes in the styrofoam and stuck the wires in the holes. I took the wooden things off, which is what I almost always do to the trees. So there you can see how it looks, and you can see the grit paste, snowfall grit paste. So that's the update. So I'm going to just keep working. I finished coloring the baubles. The pink is a mixture of mostly pink sherbet, a couple of drops of wild plum, and a few drops of gumball. The red is poppy field. And I may decide once I get it on there that it's a little too orangey red, and if that's the case, I will add, I'm trying to remember what red I have in here. Maybe a little red pepper. The yellow is dandelion. The turquoise, pool. The blue, a mixture of aquamarine, and a couple of drops of cobalt. So those are the colors I'm going to use for the trees. And to attach the baubles to the trees, you need a little bit of patience. I attached them with Distress Collage Medium. For me, this is the best glue to use with all of my Idea-ology because it holds. However, it takes a little while to dry. So when you're attaching the baubles, you want to pick one up, put a little bit on, and you do not want too much. So I usually go like this. You want enough, but not too much. And then you'll take, and I push it in, and then usually I'll hold it. And you just need to do this when you're watching something that you enjoy. Otherwise, it will pop out when you're putting some other ones in. They'll pop out and roll across your desk or your table or whatever, and you're going to get frustrated. Now, I'm going to use fairly large baubles for this one because I want it to be cartoonish and silly and fun. So these may be a little bit bigger than I would normally use. I'm having trouble deciding what I'm going to do around the bottom of the Reliquary dome, so I'm going to pull this in just slightly while it's still drying. I cut a few pieces of holly from the peppermint, kind of holly sketched paper, I don't know, backdrops paper. I was going to put the peppermint, there were two of these in the Ephemera pack, and I was going to put them on this green paper and put that around the Reliquary dome like this. So I'm just gonna, I'll just hold it in front so you can kind of see. These aren't dry yet, so I don't want to tip them too much. But anyway, this is kind of where I was going with it, but I didn't feel like that it pulled in the colors behind it very well. So anyway, my other idea was that I took this candy paper, and it does have a lot of colors that would bring in some of that. And so I thought I might put this and then the 25 and the bells. So I may go that way. So just showing you kind of some different things that I'm thinking through as I try and decide. And then what I will do to attach it, and I'm going to show you this in fast forward, is that I will put collage medium on both sides. I'll run it through my finger like this. I will wipe my fingers off, and then I will put it on. So these 1/2-inch pieces fit exactly around the Reliquary dome. Isn't that amazing? Fits right there. So so I will put the peppermint strips end to end if I decide to do that one on this 1/2 inch piece from the backdrops, and I'll just put them end to end and then I'll attach them on. Here it is lit up. So crazy. So I finalized it with that band of, this is just a strip of the green polka dot paper, and I cut it to, I believe this was a 1/2 inch. And then I think the peppermint sticks, there were 2 of them, and they were about 3/8 of an inch around. And so they meet together in the back, and they also meet on the front. And so on the big area where they met on the front, I went ahead and covered it with a piece that was 25, 2 for $25 or something like that. It says on it, but I knew I would be covering it up. So then I cut 2 leaves out of the peppermint paper. It's got peppermint and holly leaves, and so I cut 2 of the leaves out. And then there is, in the Ephemera pack where you get the red circle, there is a kind of scalloped piece, and there's 2 of them. There's one in the layers pack that's a large one, and then there's the smaller one, and it has 3 green bells on it, and I wanted bells because he hears the bells ringing in Whoville, and so I cut out 2 of the green bells and put those on. I thought green, perfect, because it's the Grinch. So this is what that final little front area looks like. I don't have anything that is a sentiment on this. I'm just letting the imagery speak for itself. And I think that's fun, all lit up. And then what it looks like on the back. So I did go ahead and decorate the back as well. Now, I made it so that you could pull the dome off. So let's see if I can get it to come off without wrecking anything. Okay, so now you can kind of see the details a little bit up close. You can see the snow. We've got the Grinch. We've got Max with this little, I think Max is my favorite part, made out of the deer, and then just all the baubles. And I had all those other things out that I thought I was going to use, and then I just ended up using extra baubles because there just really wasn't a lot of room in there. I've got the stars because all of the trees in Whoville have the yellow stars. Added a little bit of that grit paste snowfall on all of the baubles, and then I actually tucked it in between the baubles down here and on the back to try and kind of cover up some of those wires. I know you can see more of the wires on the back, and if you really were into it, you could get your Twisted Citron paint, and you get a tiny detail brush, and you could probably paint those over so they didn't show up as much. But really, once you get the glass on, and that's going to be facing the back, no one's really going to notice. So there we have it. Little Grinch Reliquary Dome. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this quick tutorial. And if you have any questions, if I missed anything, I know I do when I'm under the gun and I have to get things done by a deadline. So if I missed anything that you are curious about, please ask me in the comments here or on my blog at playswellwithpaper.blogspot.com. You can ask me through the comments, or not the comments, please ask me through the contact section in the right-hand column. I'll be glad to get back to you as soon as I possibly can and do my best to answer your questions. And as always, I want you to know I'm very thankful for you watching. I'm thankful for all of the likes. I'm thankful for all of the comments. I'm thankful for all of the support that you give me. So with all that, I wish you a very creative day.